SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information. Previewing UFC 166 here at SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're talking right now with returning guest Nick Kalikas from MMAoddsbreaker.com. And our call-in guest this week is Brian Hemminger from MMAoddsbreaker.com as well. He is the managing editor there. All right, guys, now let's discuss Diego Sanchez, Gilbert Melendez, another huge favorite here. And we understand why. You know, Melendez minus 650. He's ranked number one. He lost a close one to Benson Henderson last time out, but it was, it was a decision that a lot of people thought was a little bit controversial. Didn't make him drop in the rankings at all, but he's not getting a rematch though. Sanchez, unranked, coming off of another contentious decision as well. He was a little bit overweight for that fight. Hemminger, Brian Hemminger, is there any reason to not want to bet Melendez here at minus 650?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You look at the performances of Gilbert Melendez in his most recent fights. You know, Jorge Masvidal, that was an ugly decision. It wasn't a very impressive performance from him. Josh Thompson, a lot of people thought he lost that fight against Josh Thompson. Then he goes out against Benson Henderson and has a solid performance, but loses a split decision. So he is not the type of fighter that goes out and is just crushing people. It's not like he's fighting these smaller Japanese fighters that he's able to physically dominate. Like I think Gilbert Melendez is a very good fighter, but he is not this dominating force that he was during that little brief run in Strikeforce for a while.
Right.
And Diego Sanchez, obviously, he's not as skilled as Gilbert Melendez. He doesn't have the striking, he doesn't have the physical tools, and he's clearly not the same fighter that he was during that great run. But he has this penchant for winning, these crazy, ugly decisions, controversial decisions. You look at the Gomi fight most recently. You look at the Martin Kampmann fights that he should have lost. Like sometimes he just gets the win because of his aggression. Some fights that people expect him to lose, he ends up winning. I would not be shocked, even though I think Gilbert Melendez is a significantly better fighter than Diego Sanchez, with the way that the money line is leaning right now.
Right.
I think it's worth it to throw a little something on Diego Sanchez just because of bad MMA judging and just Diego Sanchez has this ability to be in fights, and Melendez is not crushing people lately.
All right, Nick Kalikas, that sounds like the kind of analysis that you would completely agree with. We've got a big underdog here. The fight, if it goes a distance, who knows what the judges will say. Maybe the underdog is also a little bit, undervalued, underrated as well. I'm thinking that maybe you think there's decent value with Sanchez then.
First of all, let me just say this. I was one of the guys that bet heavily on Melendez against Ben Henderson. So that controversial decision at the plus money that I got, still not sitting well with me because I believe that Melendez should have edged that fight out. But anyway, again, on to the next one. Like I said earlier, this fight, yeah, it is a little bit too high. Opening closer to 4-1 as well. And I agree with what Brian has to say too. Melendez is definitely the better fighter in every area, every aspect of the game. He's better, no doubt about it. I don't know where Diego is actually going to hang with him, but the problem with Diego is he does have heart. He does have that willpower to push forward, even if he's getting beat up. I mean, the guy won a controversial decision before over Martin Kampmann because of that same reason. He got torched early, but just kept on pushing forward, and he made it ugly enough that the judges were confused by who won and gave it to him.
Right.
So in that situation here, I could see that's probably the only way Diego Sanchez wins this fight, but we say it all the time. With the state of MMA judging, how bad they are, those guys don't watch fights. I don't know what they're doing ringside. I mean, the fans on Twitter and on the media sites are judging these fights a lot better than these guys. So with that being said, there's no way you could lay over 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 on Melendez, even though I think he's by far the superior fighter here. This is a crazy line because it's going to probably be a competitive decision, even if Melendez is picking him apart.
What do you think about the distance? Do you think there's any way it doesn't go the distance, Nick?
I mean, it's possible because Diego's been hit, several times before. He's been rocked, but he's tough. He managed to survive, obviously, in most cases. So that's where it's going to be hard. I do think it's going to go to decision, and it is going to be scary. Probably a scary decision. I mean, Melendez will at least clearly win, I think, 2 out of the 3 rounds. But who knows if the judges are going to score it that way. So, yeah, I do think there's probably not going to be a stoppage. I don't think Diego can stop Melendez. I mean, unless he gets just that lucky punch. I don't see him stopping it that way. So it's probably going to go decision.
All right, so Brian Hemminger, maybe we do a bet on the over 2.5 at minus 275, and then a little bit also on Sanchez plus 475. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think those are both decent bets because with the way that these guys fight, Diego Sanchez is not going to get knocked out. He got the crap kicked out of him by Jake Ellenberger, and at 170, I just don't see him getting finished by Melendez, and I definitely don't see him finishing Melendez. He hasn't finished a fight in forever.
Right.
So the over two and a half is just makes complete sense. And then the fact that it goes over 2.5 means it's probably going to a decision. And then when it goes to a decision, you just never know with a Melendez fight and a Sanchez fight, and that the odds here are just crazy. So a potential 5-to-1 return on your investment makes it actually really compelling to throw a little something on Diego Sanchez.
All right, great preview, guys. I think we found some value here. Over 2.5, minus 275, and then a little bit on Sanchez at plus 475 as well.